tricky. I want Crawford to win, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. You know, I would like for that to happen, but this guy's a hard puncher. He's a smart fighter. He can move. I'm just curious. I just want to see it. I want to be there and see it.
He feels like this is a ridiculous fight. He states that Terence Crawford moving up 2 weight classes.
Into the fight, I wasn't really I just didn't like the fact that Terence Crawford had to go up 2 weight classes. I just didn't really like that.
Mike Tyson gave a blunt take on Terence Crawford moving up to face Canelo Alvarez. According to Tyson, Crawford doesn't actually need this fight because he has already done enough to be recognized as a legend in boxing. Tyson explained that stepping up against a naturally bigger and stronger fighter like Canelo carries more risk than reward, warning it could hurt Crawford's legacy instead of adding to it. For Tyson, weight classes exist for a reason, to maintain fairness and protect fighters. Ignoring them stacks the odds in favor of the bigger man. While Tyson respects Crawford's skill and accomplishments, he insists the smarter decision would be to preserve what Crawford has already built rather than gamble it all against a larger opponent.
Just say he doesn't have to do it.
You posted the other day, there's a picture of you in a Rolls Royce, and you said, the quote is, "I can't remember how many of these I gave away."
Canelo Crawford.
It's tricky. I want Crawford to win, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. You know, I would like for that to happen, but this guy's a hard puncher. He's a smart fighter. He can move. I'm just curious. I just want to see it. I want to be there to see it. Because listen, there's been upsets like that before. You know, Henry Armstrong, 124 pounds, he beat the 146-pound champ. So, you know, you never know. Anything can happen when 2 men are in a ring or in a basketball court. Anything can happen.
Tyson doubled down, calling the fight ridiculous because the entire purpose of weight divisions is to keep matchups safe and fair. He pointed out the glaring size difference between Canelo and Crawford, stressing that no amount of skill can fully erase that gap. To Tyson, this fight places Crawford at a disadvantage before it even begins, which overshadows his true greatness. He admitted he doesn't like the idea at all, saying that taking on a naturally bigger fighter opens Crawford up to unnecessary danger. Tyson closed by saying Crawford doesn't need to prove anything more, his accomplishments already speak for themselves, and this matchup risks diminishing them.
Terence Crawford calling out Canelo.
You know, I don't like that fight.
Why not?
I don't like that fight. It's just too much weight, you know. And he had a close fight with the last guy he fought, Terence, because this guy was big and he was awkward. He was really awkward. He shouldn't have fought that guy. He should have fought a guy that was just come straight at him. The guy was too awkward.
He's herky-jerky, yeah.
Or one of them.
Yeah.
See, it's a missing art.
9 wins by way of knockout. And Mike Tyson, he feels like this is a ridiculous fight. He states that Terence Crawford moving up 2 weight classes is a ridiculous fight, and that he's just simply too small, and he's gonna lose, and lose bad. He feels like he didn't want to say it, but he hinted around he's gonna get knocked out, right? He thinks that, you know, Terence Crawford has skills, he's talented, but he just feels like there's weight class for a reason. Like many people in the sport of boxing, they feel like it's weight classes for a reason. And so, you know, he's not the first person to feel this way. But my thoughts is this. Should Terence Crawford be victorious, as I expect him to, the hype train for Terence Crawford's legacy only gets bigger. Because there's so many people that are doubting Terence Crawford's ability to beat Canelo Alvarez because of the size, right? They feel like this is David and Goliath. And that story, that mythical story, is so big and so legendary is because of the size difference. You had the small little guy, you know, slaying the giant, right? It's just simply not supposed to happen. And so this just bolsters the myth of Terence
boxing veteran Daoud Bey shared his own perspective, focusing on the way both fighters prepare. He described Canelo's camp as intense, carefully structured, and filled with sparring partners who mimic his opponent's styles. This allows Canelo to expose weaknesses and prepare for every possible scenario. Crawford, by contrast, is known for his adaptability and technical brilliance, but Bey questioned whether his sparring partners can truly prepare him for the challenge of facing a naturally bigger, stronger champion like Canelo. Bey reminded fans that sparring and fighting are worlds apart, especially when it comes to moving up in weight. He made it clear that he does not support Crawford taking this fight, emphasizing that Crawford is already one of the greatest of his generation. Undefeated, multi-division champion, and highly respected, Crawford has nothing left to prove. Bey warned that taking on a fight with such an extreme size difference isn't about legacy anymore, it's about unnecessary risk.
Well, Canelo got a world champion right now in his camp with him with Boots. Well, Boots vacated.
Shakur, though.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much Shakur adds to this. He's a southpaw, and he's a smaller guy. I think that's just sharp brain. That's like if Boots was boxing Celine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I'm boxing him. My young boy nice, but he don't pertain to the fight necessarily. But everybody don't train like that anyway. Everybody don't look for to have all of these sparring partners be like identical or in the same realm of the person they fighting. Some people, they spar like for sharp minds, so they'll just try to have the best people they can have. So you never know what Bomac and them strategy is.
As far as stylistic, who do you feel like has the advantage heading into that? Well, I'm just looking at the sparring partners.
From the sparring partners?
Yeah.
I think Boots not the same as Terence Crawford, right? But I think he has athleticism, and he's a switcher, and he'll kind of go off for the playbook to do his thing. I think mind state-wise, I think Boots is a big help. The guys that Crawford got in there, because
Mr. Martinez cracking.
no, he punching. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I feel like, bro, I don't know who got the best of that.
You ever seen Darrell Valsay?
I have. You know, I'm a Haitian boy, so you know what I'm saying? But it's just hard. It's hard to, man, I just think the sparring for this fight is elite on both sides. I think that they both taking each other seriously. You could tell that by the sparring partners that they brought in. And I'm just kind of anxious to see the fight. Like, going into the fight, I just didn't like the fact that Terence Crawford had to go up 2 weight classes. I just didn't really like that. I mean, being honest, as a black boxing fan, when I take my coaching hat off, like, no, I don't want to see our best fighter have to go up 2 weight classes. I don't like that. But you think about it and you like, well, look, first of all, I don't want to deny that man. I wouldn't want to say nothing or even have it in my heart to deny that man that kind of financial like blessing that he gonna get from fighting Canelo. Not only that, he chasing greatness.
British journalist Gareth A. Davies offers a perspective
British journalist Gareth A. Davies offered a different perspective.
Potential defining moment in
he framed the
boxing
matchup
history.
as potentially historic,
Davies,
the kind of fight that could define Crawford's legacy forever.
Superstar like
According
Canelo
to Davies,
Alvarez
every all-time great has a moment where courage and ambition push them into uncharted territory, and this may be
he
Crawford's.
emphasizes that every legendary
Facing
fighter
Canelo
reaches a
Alvarez,
moment where their
larger,
skill,
more experienced,
courage,
and one of
ambition
boxing's
are tested.
biggest global
And for
stars
Crawford,
would give
this
Crawford the
matchup
chance
could be
to
that
silence
pivotal
all
point.
critics and
Davies
cement his
points out
place
that
in
by
history.
taking on Canelo,
Davies
Crawford has
admitted the
chance
risk
to
is
silence
massive,
critics who
acknowledging
question
that a
the
loss
depth
could
and
stain
breadth of
Crawford's
his
flawless
career
record.
accomplishments. The
But
fight,
he also
in his
argued
view,
that great
goes
fighters
beyond
are
the simple
remembered not
metrics of
only for
weight and
victories,
size.
but
It is
for their willingness
fundamentally
to
about
take the
legacy
hardest
and how a
fights.
champion is remembered.
For him,
Davies
Crawford
acknowledges
versus
the
Canelo
enormous
is
risk
about
involved,
legacy, courage,
recognizing that a
and daring to
misstep
chase the
could tarnish
impossible.
an otherwise flawless record. Yet he also highlights that these are precisely the types of challenges that elevate champions into icons, fighters whose careers are defined not just by victories, but by the courage to take on the toughest possible tests.
The levels that he's gone through, the weights that he's gone through, and the opponents that he has been in with, he's come up short against a couple. but he's come through some big challenges as well through his, 65, 66 professional bouts since he was 15 years of age. There's no doubt that this is the biggest test of Terence Crawford's career, not only because of the weight step up, but also because of the level of the opponent. But anybody that's watched Terence Crawford's career knows full well how much talent this young man has. I mean, he is absolutely sensational, both as an orthodox and as a southpaw fighter. You can't really tell which is his favoured side. He's that good, the angles that he creates, and the way that he not only dissects people, but the way that he puts his foot down when he gets somebody hurt is
he's spiteful.
He's truly, truly impressive.
But what he also does, and this is where I think people are making the mistake with the fight with Israel Madrimov last summer in Los Angeles, was that Terence doesn't mind doing enough to win. He doesn't. If he knows he's got to win on points, he's happy to tuck everything neatly in the office and win round by round. It reminds me of Floyd Mayweather. It reminds me of Pernell Whitaker. It reminds me of guys that win with ease without overstretching themselves, that don't have to get in a battle. But when he's got someone hurt, as you rightly say, he's spiteful. I'm not sure he'll get Canelo hurt in this fight. But if his timing and his movement are on, the slightly slowed Canelo, who likes to load up these days, could find himself frustrated by Terence Crawford.
Yeah. And there's also the aspect of when he is behind. I mean, we've all seen that famous clip where he's fighting Sean Porter. Somebody sells him ringside. They've got him down on the cards. He goes through the gears and stops Sean Porter in the very next round. There's also that element to him. He's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. But he's also fighting someone that's equally as brilliant. A very different type of style, Canelo.
And a fan favourite.
The analyst breaks down Canelo Alvarez's
From Canelo's side, an analyst broke down his thoughts on the misunderstood concept of running in boxing.
Dismissed the idea that movement
Canelo dismissed the idea that using movement should be viewed as negative, explaining that real boxing is a combination of smart footwork, precise punching, and ring intelligence. He highlighted that great fighters constantly adjust angles, create openings, and control distance, rather than just standing still or brawling. The analyst noted Canelo's reference to Arislandi Lara, saying Lara's style showed the art of using movement effectively. Canelo insisted this strategy is about skill, not avoidance.
Canelo acknowledged that such tactics are part of the sport's complexity and should not be oversimplified or mischaracterized.
Canelo's comments underline a larger truth. Boxing isn't just about aggression, it's about adaptability, intelligence, and knowing how to win strategically.
Canelo's remarks underscore...
You didn't really understand what he was saying. Canelo is saying there's a difference between boxing, like being a boxer, and moving, and then you throw some punches. Like, you getting some punches in there. Then you, like, take a lap. Then you get some more punches. Right? And I agree with that. I agree. Like, my thing is this. If you know my channel, I've been doing this from way back. We go back like cornrows. I have never really been big on this whole like running language. Like I don't, because you got to understand, old media, they were the ones that came out with this whole running charade, and I don't like it because it was initially used to like maim and marginalize oftentimes black fighters and Cuban fighters. When non-black, non-Cuban fighters would face certain black fighters or Cuban fighters primarily, they would get hit with this like, oh, he ran moniker. And the reason you know it was racially motivated is because if you actually know boxing and you watch the fight, that's not even what was happening in the fights where they would claim that oftentimes a black fighter or Cuban fighter ran. Like Arislandi Lara versus Canelo. I thought Lara won the fight with Canelo. And Lara was doing some very good work. Canelo started doing some good body shots in the back half.
Timothy Bradley Jr. addressed one of the big concerns about Crawford, his inactivity. Many believe being out of the ring too long can dull a fighter's sharpness, but Bradley completely disagrees. He pointed to Floyd Mayweather as an example of a fighter who regularly returned after long layoffs and still delivered at the highest level. Bradley argued that Crawford is too disciplined to let inactivity hurt him, highlighting his strict training and consistent physical conditioning even outside of fight announcements. For Bradley, ring rust is exaggerated when it comes to fighters of Crawford's caliber. He believes Crawford will come in sharp, prepared, and fully capable of performing at the elite level despite the gap in activity.
Yeah, man, I was thinking, man, like, a lot of people is making a fuss about Crawford being out of the ring for over a year, you know. I'm not putting too much stock into that, man. I'm not really, you know, Floyd Mayweather's came back from after a year. Shoot, I remember John Jones, 3 years out of the game, you know. And I know it's a different sport, but it's still combat sports. 3 years out of the game, came back, faced the champion, beat him, beat the champion, you know. You know, Crawford took the time to really build his body up, man, the way he needed to build it up. And I like his build because just looking at pictures and stuff like that, man, he put a lot of the weight on his legs, you know. That's going to help with stability. That's going to help with punching power. It's going to help with his ability to be able to take a shot, too. You know, he get razzled and dazzled in there from one of them big shots from Canelo. You know, he going to have some stability. He going to have a base to be able to keep himself up, you know. I always say, you know, partly to be able to take a punch, I say, you know what, it's a lot to do with physical. It also has a lot to do with mental, and it also has a lot to do with genetics. Some guys can take it more than others. That's just it. Some guys can take it more than others, man. But, you know, I would say we all feel like the same thing when we do get hit with a big shot. You know, you hear that ringing in your ears. You know, that's your brain bouncing around off that skull. You know, bouncing around off that skull. You know, some part of you get numb. You know, especially if it's a big shot. You know, your legs might get numb, your arm might get numb. You know, I remember when I got knocked on my behind against Kendall Holt, man, my right leg went numb.
The longtime trainer of Manny Pacquiao offered a stark warning. He stressed that Crawford has never officially fought anyone with Canelo's size, power, and championship experience. While Crawford may have sparred with larger fighters, sparring is not the same as a real professional fight under the lights. He explained that every punch from a naturally bigger fighter carries a different kind of impact, one Crawford has never had to deal with in a live fight. The trainer cautioned that Canelo was battle-tested across multiple heavier divisions, and facing him could be a challenge unlike anything Crawford has ever faced. No matter how skilled Crawford is, the size difference is an undeniable factor that makes this matchup uniquely dangerous.
First fought 168 twice a year.
Correct.
Crawford's never fought heavy, 154 sometimes.
And
that makes a big difference when you're in the ring. You're carrying around an extra 20 pounds you're not used to fighting with.
He might get tired halfway through the fight because why? Because the blood cells, the muscle.
Trying to feed up too much muscle. It's not normal if you're not used to it.
Okay, what if he stays skinny and he comes in way under the weight?
Then he's going to get hurt. Trying to get hurt. And by outboxing, you're going to get hit. 12-round fight. The law of averages tells you you're going to get hit.
And you like Crawford because I know he's been to your gym.
So, you know,
it's just boxing, no bias. Okay.
What if
and sport? It's, you know, it's athletics. It's, you know, Crawford has never been up there. Canelo's got a great chin. He's fought big guys. He's taken a lot, and everybody thinks he's done.
Another analyst echoed this concern, reminding fans that weight divisions exist for a reason. While many argue that skill overrides size, he explained that this is a misunderstanding of boxing fundamentals. Weight classes are designed to protect fighters by ensuring balance in strength and power. He acknowledged Crawford's talent but warned that facing someone like Canelo, naturally bigger, stronger, and experienced at higher weights, breaks that balance. Ignoring size differences is not just unfair, it alters the entire nature of the contest. According to the analyst, people downplaying the role of size are ignoring one of the sport's most important truths: weight matters, and in this case, it could decide everything.
Bro, size matters, and what kills me, this is what bothers me so much, that I try to educate y'all. If you don't know how to fight, the only people who say shit like this are guys who don't know how to fight. They don't know boxing. You've never been in there before. Bro, I am telling you, something y'all need to understand. This is just like when I used to tell y'all for the long. Y'all, I got videos on my page from 10 years ago, and I'm telling y'all that MMA fighters have terrible bodies. they have turbo boxing. This is the time when y'all was saying this is before the crossover fights and shit. And I'm like, MMA fighters don't stand a chance against a boxer and a boxing match. And y'all just thought, oh, they can use. Y'all are actually talking about people's wrestling background when it comes to boxing. Y'all are actually on here trying to talk about someone's wrestling skills helping them win a boxing match. Bro, wrestling is not going to help a boxer the same way boxing skills ain't going to help an NCAA wrestler in a wrestling match. His boxing skills, it don't matter how good his hands are with boxing. That's not going to help him win a wrestling match. A wrestler, you can have all the wrestling skills in the world. That is not going to fucking help you in a boxing match if you don't know how to box. If you're not a better boxer than the guy you're going against, your wrestling is not going to help you win. It's just not. It's two different sports, bro.
That concludes today's breakdown. Stay tuned for more updates, analysis, and insights as the conversation around Crawford versus Canelo continues to heat up.